Have I read the Star Trek Planet of the Apes crossover comic, The Primate Directive? Let's talk about it. This is the Star Trek Planet of the Apes crossover series, The Primate Directive, which came out from IDW Publishers in conjunction with Boom Studios. As you can see, this is the graphic novel edition, but it was originally published as 5 issues that came out between December 2014 and April 2015. It was written by Stott and David Tipton, who also worked on the Star Trek Klingons Blood Will Tell series. And the interior artist was Rachael Stott, who also worked on the Tholian web series as part of the ongoing Star Trek Kelvin timeline comics. Now, normally I feel a little bit bad when I hype something up that's kind of hard to get, but this series is honestly one of the best Star Trek comic book series I have ever read. As far as timelines go, this is a Star Trek The Original Series story that takes place following the episode The Errand of Mercy. In that episode, Kirk and Spock are trying to protect the citizens of Organia from the Klingons, but these citizens don't want the Federation's help. And the main villain in that story is Klingon Commander Kor, who is important to know because he does show up in this series as well. With regards to the Planet of the Apes timeline, this series takes place immediately following the events of the 1968 film The Planet of the Apes starring Charlton Heston, and his character George Taylor, along with Nova, Cornelius, Zira, General Ursus, and Dr. Zaius appear in this series as well. If you like the sci-fi techno-babble jargon that Star Trek is known for, you are going to love this series because the beginning is just jam-packed with all of this techno-babble in order to explain how these two worlds, these two universes collide. Likewise, if you are a Planet of the Apes fan, you are going to love how this series basically explains how the events of Escape from the Planet of the Apes, the 3rd film in the original Planet of the Apes series, comes to be. Is Scotty responsible for Cornelius and Zira going back in time? Interesting. The artwork in this series is very vibrant and really captures the image of each of the characters. You're talking about something like Star Trek and the Planet of the Apes, you have so many famous actors who are so well known for how they look in those series, and this comic really does a great job of capturing each and every one of them. And I particularly love the discussions where the characters try to decide, does the Prime Directive really apply to the situation? Because this is, first of all, another universe, and second of all, it's Earth. Another thing I really appreciate about this series is that there is a lot of dialogue and exposition. There's a lot of backstory to explain how the Enterprise and how the Klingon ship could end up in this universe with the Planet of the Apes, and they do a very fantastic job of intertwining that in with the dialogue and the narrative structure of the story. And if you have the graphic novel edition, you get these fantastic pages in between each individual issue showing the Star Trek Delta with the apes inside. And there are over 20 pages at the end with alternate covers, other illustrations, and sketches from the series. I really love this series. This is a must for any Star Trek and Planet of the Apes fan. So if you like both of those fandoms, this is definitely a comic for you to check out. It's a madhouse!